Welcome to the 7th episode. I can't believe you have 7 episodes under our belt.
We're upgrading, maybe green belt, then red, then blue, then orange. We'll see.
I look forward to this every week, Wawa. You know, I always enjoy chatting with you about different topics, and I know today's going to be no different. So yeah, we got to talk about something. I got to show you a card that my girls got me for Father's Day. When I came down, they let me sleep in a little bit. Sleeping in as a father, you know, it's like sleeping in is 8 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah, I got coffee.
If you're lucky. So I came down and my girls were like, they had a few gifts. And they were like, open the card. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what did they get me? Did they get me another fart card or a poop card or something funny? I opened it up. I love it. I'm going to cherish this one forever.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I mean, in my house, we're big Swiftie fans here. You know, all the songs, you sing them all the time, all day long.
And they know they love you more than them too.
I'm glad to know that. I'm glad to know that. Because if it was the other way, I'd be like, get out.
I disown you right now.
Nah,
that's not. It's impossible for us, for people like us to do that.
How was your Father's Day?
Mine was great. I mean, my queen, she got me coffee and stuff like that. And she made strawberry and cream pancakes.
Ooh.
Okay. It was already a mix of that. So she decided, I told her, I'm gonna try to taste that. She made it. It was good. I liked it. My kids liked it. She didn't like it.
I can imagine her doing that.
It was good. But
I have videos of her going,
that hilarious.
Yeah. Just like overreaction to something so simple, but it's overreacted.
For her, that's normal when it comes to something really. She makes it big on that one. But yeah, so Father's Day was great. Spending time with my kids, we're all over. Just low key, just chill.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it because when you're a father and people say, what do you want for Father's Day? What do you want for Father's Day? I'm like, I already have it. You
have everything.
Yeah.
Have everything.
Yeah. You. So I'm like, I'm good. Fine. So what I did was almost all day just wishing every dad, every person I know who's the dad, happy Father's Day. Yeah. Responding. Yeah. Yeah, just encouraging. You know, because sometimes there's some dads, they get nothing. Or they feel lack. Or I've heard that one dad said that his baby mama hates him, won't let child see him or anything like that. And the child doesn't like him either. And so you don't know the story between both sides. So, but said, happy Father's Day. Thank you. He was inspired by that. So, but
sometimes it's just that one little message can change somebody's day.
Yeah. It's cool.
Nice of you to do that. Yeah. A lot of work all day. You're like,
all day.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you too. Happy Father's Day. I mean, wow. It's like you realize how many dad friends you have and how many people look at you as their father as well. Because I got a few texts like that.
I got that. I got a lot of that as well.
I really appreciated that.
Yeah. And it just feels like you need to copy and paste everything. Happy Father's Day to you.
It's funny you say that because I was this close to setting up on my iPhone where if I put Happy Father's Day, HFD, it will automatically Happy Father's Day. So I could just go HFD, Happy Father's Day. I was this close to thinking about that, but I didn't do it. I thought I would call it cheating. Hey, I got to share. So since our last podcast, In the previous podcast, I mentioned NHL and ASL.
Yes, right.
I got to tell you, this is incredible. I really enjoyed watching the NHL playoffs,
Really?
the Stanley Cup playoffs, because of the two deaf broadcasters. I mean, the first game when I was watching was a little bit tough at first, and I was talking with a few friends. It's like anything that's new can be challenging at first. You're like, how do I experience this? How do I watch this? How do I start? I kept watching. I've watched every game that they've broadcasted on ESPN. I'm also paying for a subscription. So, of course, when you're paying for a subscription, you have to watch it, I've been watching all the games, and I see a tremendous improvement in every game. How the two broadcasters, Noah and Jason, how they interact with each other, how they interact with the guest on there. In fact, I was shocked. The head of the NHL, Gary Bettman.
Wow.
The commissioner of the NHL. They had him on the broadcast and they interviewed him. And I was like, I remember when I was growing up, this guy was the commissioner of the NHL. I mean, every time the Detroit Red Wings won the Stanley Cup, you'd always see him come out and introduce the team. It's like all other sports. You have the NBA, the NFL.
Right.
So I saw him being interviewed. I was like, how long has this guy been in the position of power? So I Googled it, 1993. So obviously, since I was a kid, this guy has been the head of the NHL. And it was an awesome interview. And Gary was talking about how much he really appreciated what they were doing. I mean, it was just really cool. Another thing that I loved watching is, they have a deaf hockey school in Chicago, a Hee-Haw, and they interviewed the people from there as well. So it's just really cool to watch this. I mean, as a fan of hockey, as someone who played, as someone who really, really likes sports, I have a lot of good friends from college who love to chat about sports. So for me, it was really nostalgic. It was accessible. It was enjoyable to just sit on the couch and see other people signing in ASL. Champ. Love it.
So
Love it.
The first time you watched, I remember you mentioned that you thought when I'm looking at, but now it seems much better. So there's always room for improvement about that. And to see that happen so fast.
To see the rhythm of the two of them going back and forth, because I admit, I'm just watching them chat. But then I was like, why am I watching them chat and we're not watching the game? So I had to figure out that balance because, as a deaf person, we struggle with this every day. Here people can wash the dishes and blah, 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 they can talk, but for me, I have to wash my hand and then dry my hands and then sign. Hearing people can just they can get in the car and drive and listen to the radio. They can do all these different things, but for deaf people, we have to adjust our communication acceptance modes.
Some visual stuff, but it's nice at the fact that they really made progress so fast in such a short time. To regulate, to make sure clearly.
I just foresee, and I hope, and I would pay if ESPN had their own ASL channel with different selected sports. I would pay for that. Honestly, I would pay for it because I know there are so many talented deaf people in our community that are so knowledgeable about sports.
Yes.
And I love seeing that passion. I mean, that passion has always, it's been fun for me. It's fun for me to watch it as someone who grew up reading history books, watching sports with my grandpa, watching sports at the bar while I was working. To have a community of deaf people who are passionate, it's awesome.
We have it.
To see that kind of access in ASL.
Yeah, we have it. So it's nice. It's nice to put it in mainstream media. So all sports, NFL, I'm football freak. I'm sorry about NHL, but
That's fun.
One day I'll watch. But for NFL, but can you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine just all of the sports have that AirSound accessibility? Yeah. So ESPN Plus, do something like that with AirSound. Yeah, definitely. I'll be down to subscribe to that.
Big shout out to PXP Sports, Access in Sports. I mean, they're doing a great job, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of what they cook up.
Brilliant move. Brilliant.
Yeah,
but
I agree,
but that whole part of it
that
what PXP was doing was networking. So that was networking. So they got their foot wet by reaching out. They had something to offer. So they knew there was a bigger area where people know specifically what they do related with sport. So they took themselves, put themselves in that environment and just networking to build a friendship, build a connection, a network of understanding sports itself and introducing deaf culture to it. So that's where networking is really important. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about networking.
Yeah, I want to add to that. I don't know the inner workings of how PXP made this work with the NHL, but from an outside perspective, think about how they approach it, how they got their foot in the door. From what I understand, they reached out to the NHL.
Okay.
Obviously, the two people who work for PXP have a passion for the NHL, played hockey themselves. So I think that there's a lot of factors involved in that decision to pursue the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
They started by signing Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the NHL, his press releases related to the Stanley Cup. So it's interesting how they got their foot in the door with that. Sometimes you have to start small. Not sometimes, all the time.
All the time.
You have to start small. You can't just go into somebody's door and say, hey, I want to make every single NHL game accessible in sign language. No, I think you need to start somewhere and to prove yourself. And sometimes proving yourself is doing mock games. Maybe you do a mock game and you show an example of what it looks like, what your vision is. I mean, I think about that. I think about what they're doing, how they got in the door, how they little by little got to where they are.
It's passion.
Yeah.
I mean, so these people really fell in love with the sport itself. So they're really into it. So they know statistics, the name, the players, all of it. And they know the progress or maybe foresee who will win this or that kind of thing. I think we all kind of do that with our favorite sports. But
for sure.
But these guys who are really into it, it means you don't need to have a degree in this, like for weather report, or well, maybe for weather reports, for news. But it'd be nice if we have like news themselves, just all ASL. But
I think that this with ESPN, with people like the Daily Moth, people who are sharing information with our community, I think that for the younger generation, there will definitely be more motivation to go to school for, journalism, for broadcasting, for different things. And seeing those doors open for our community is incredible. So I hope that there are young deaf people out there who want to go into the news, who want to become weathermen, weatherwomen, weatherperson.
So, but that's part, but to get there, networking is the major step to get into there.
I'm curious, Wawa. I mean, you do multiple different things, but I was thinking to myself, as it relates to networking, what is it like to network on a set? When you go to, for a film shoot, networking on the set, like, what is that like? Like, how do you approach that?
I can guarantee you, every actor on the set is always networking. because from some people who was related for another company, a different crew, cast, directors, you're always networking. And it's fun. You're building friendship and you're working because each time you're on a set, you are automatic a team to develop that episode you're working on, or theater, or dance. But it's fun. I'll tell you a story. When I did the TV show Black Lightning, the first time, I remember arriving there all excited. I had 2 interpreters there, and I never asked for it. But they knew the process because the director himself has already worked with deaf people before. And nice. So I wasn't sure what to expect. Got there, interpreters were there, boom, 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 boom. And I remember I was so zoned into this practice, and I had my TV wife, and she knew a little bit of signs before. So fine. So we was practicing reviewing off the set and on the set. So we built the connection for our roles. And it was a lot of fun. Now I remember during the set, we was talking, we was acting, boom, cut. Fine, we take a break, while they change the lens, move around and stuff. And I remember 2 interpreters, I had 2. They was here. I remember one interpreter, eyes just popped open. And I'm like, I thought maybe I missed something. And he said, and he looked at that interpreter. Do you hear this? And the other interpreter, he was like, no, do you hear this? I'm like, what? What's going on? So the one in front of me said, director was like, find this guy. We got to keep him. We have to keep him. So write his role in from now on. He was speaking to the writer of the show. So the writer said, fine, we'll write his role in. Oh, Cole, that's one. I'm shocked. The other interpreter said, your TV wife is talking to her agent about you. What? I didn't have an agent that time. So two things was happening at the same time. So the writer approached me and said, okay, I need to talk with you. I'm networking. I want to be able to, introduce myself. I introduced myself and everything, talk with him. Fine. And director, we sat down, just talked about a lot of things. So we built a connection of asking each other questions on the set. But you see, first impression always count. So I like to make sure I give everything I have to show who I am as an actor, as a professional. And so that worked. Now, I obviously impressed my TV wife that she spoke with her agent. And she said, she came and said, I know you're off the next day. You have an appointment with this agent. You need to meet at this time. And I'm like, what? So everything just snowballed beautifully from there. And from that's when I got introduced to other actors who had the same agent as us, and we're meeting for them. So it was networking. Who does this, manages for this, how you can get this, what class there, was magnified. And because of that, this group that he was telling me, whatever you learn from here, share with people out there. I love that because that's what I believe. They didn't keep it to themselves. They said, okay, did you know this is happening over here? Come on. And here's the funny thing. The watch, Apple Watch, director was saying, do you have an Apple Watch? And I was like, no, I don't need it. He said, you need it. I said, well, all of us are required to have it. I was like, why? Because it's an action film. So we had trainers on the set. You need exercise, you do the push-up, you need to do the, because for some action, some stunt, we have to prepare to get ready for. And so I was like, what? I didn't have the money for it. And he was like, you will. So I was able to get it after a while. And then, so for 2 seasons, we were continually networking. We were not only set, we kept in contact, we're still in contact. We're still.
It's kind of, because I understand that. Think about those actors, those cinematographers, those editors, all of the people who involve the interpreter, the director, the writer.
Right.
all of those people got the Wawa experience. So they will go on to work on different productions, to work on different things. And you just know, and sometimes it doesn't happen for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but people will remember. And when something comes up related to deafness or related to, anything, your name is going to be thrown into that hat for sure.
First impression counts all the time.
Yeah.
People will remember you on your first impression. If it's a bad impression, they're going to remember it. And they'll probably think, if he's like that, maybe other deaf like that. Mm-mm. If it's good impression, same thing. But you as the individual in your profession, you want to shine in this. You want to progress in this. You want to be successful in this. You have to do whatever it takes to make sure it works. Your first impression has to be very positive. Even if you've been in the game for many years, still act like this is the first time you're doing it. Go.
Speaking of that, just to kind of tie it in with networking, I mean, one thing I noticed, and I've probably done myself, is complain. When you complain about something on social media, and you're trying to, build your career, you're trying to build where you're going. And to me, when I see people being negative, and I myself have done it in the past and realized what I was doing, people are paying attention.
Yeah.
People are paying attention to what kind of person you are. So if they meet you in person for the first time, they're, wow, this guy's really cool. I really want to get to know him more. I wonder what his social media handles are. So they start following you, and then doesn't match with the person.
So which one is the true colors?
It's a big part of promoting yourself, because as entertainers, as performers, as people who are with the music industry, your persona and your social media persona need to be the same. I'm always like, I understand you're frustrated right now. Maybe you should find another way to express your frustration, because I give the perspective of an outsider. I give the perspective that, if you're posting negative things on social media, you're taking other people down, people will see it. I see it every day on social media. It breaks my heart in some ways, because I understand and I see the talents of so many people. But attitude is everything. And if you have the right attitude and it matches with your social media, it matches with who you are as a person, it only opens more doors for you if you're more uplifting or you're in the right argument or whatever.
I mean, it's okay.
You talk about being on set. So in my early days, one of my first big experiences of being on set was when we filmed Let's Mambo with Molly Matlin.
Yes.
One thing I noticed that she did that I was a little bit surprised and I thought was really cool is she introduced herself to every single person on set.
Always.
She went up to them.
Always.
She chatted with them. I mean, believe it or not, I'm a shy person. I'm very shy. I am. When I'm around you and I'm around people I feel comfortable with, maybe I'm not shy, but like new people, new experiences, I'm shy. I was always that kid who stayed in the back, observed, and then I would come out fun.
I learned something new.
Yeah, so I can be very shy. But to see her do that, it really spoke volumes to me, because it showed me that, you can be the biggest star in the world, but how you treat people is, I always love the quote, it's like, treat the janitor the same way you would treat the CEO. So you have someone who's at the bottom, you have someone who's at the top. You treat them the same. You treat people how you want to be treated.
Right.
And that's a huge part of networking.
Exactly. It's when you mentioned Bob and Marley, that she did by introducing herself is really, really important because, one, you're grateful you're on that set. You're grateful you're actually hired and you're picked out of maybe thousands, 100,000, or millions of people who auditioned for this one role. Okay? Thank you. You see me? You understand me? Wow. And you working with me on this set? Thank you so much. And even if you are a big person, still say your name. Introduce your name, even though they know you. I'm Warren. Oh, I know. Okay, I'm just making sure. That's all. Just fine.
I do that all the time. I always introduce myself. Hi, my name's Sean, and people are like, I know.
Yeah.
I still want to introduce myself.
Because the whole bottom line is you never know who you meet.
Mm-hmm.
This person may have a connection to someone who can help your career take off.
Right.
You know? And so for me, you never know who you meet. I mean, you might think, I've seen this from some entertainers when they see people who are fans or just people just want to know who you are. Some entertainers actually get offended if you don't know this person, if you don't know him. I saw it. And the reaction was like, yeah, nice to meet you. I just walk off. I'm like, ouch.
Right.
You know, what does that fan think? Whoever you meet, what if you connect to someone who could help your career take off? I'm not saying being fake nice. Hi, nice to meet you. Be genuine.
Yeah.
Me, I'm a people person. I have to say hello.
Yeah. I had this conversation with a friend of mine not too long ago where he said, you know, when I started working for my company, you know, this one guy came in. I didn't really like him. We didn't get along. And, you know, I always just, eventually he became his boss. So he looks back, he was like, I wish I was a little nicer to him. I wish that, you know, but it is what it is. I mean, we're fine, but I wish I was a little nicer. Sometimes you just never know who is going to be that person. You know, I've learned in my career, some people come up to me and they're like, I want to become famous. I want to become, you know, a musician, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I get it so often that more often than not, it's just, I'm like, you know, I know how hard it is and how, you know, tough it is to make it in this business. That I'm like, but there have been people who have proved me wrong, and I love it. I love it when I get proved wrong.
I rather that because it's like, okay, good. You are doing something with your passion. You're determined to make it happen. But you never know. I mean, but the whole point is whether you're in the music field, acting field, theater, whatever, architect, web, network, to build your dream, to build yourself, your skills, your knowledge, so you can maybe pass it down or develop a business that yourself with improved ideas. You know, there's always room for improvement in anything, in everything that you do. When I started music, I never took class in learning how to professionally play drums or anything. I just, you know, whatever I could. But writing, poetry and stuff, English classes, the poetry, I love poetry. So convert them to rapping, lyrics and stuff. Things like that, I progressed on it. But how do I know who's the best engineer? How do I know who's the best writer? How do I know the best music studio, recording studio, where I go? Who do I go? Where I go? Okay, so you see a network of people or forum or a conference that's related with music, jump in. Just jump in. Swim your way through, make a connection, and, you know, once you build your reputation, people know and they see you more and they take you more serious, your first impression counts. So maybe do something better. Same thing with acting. Agents, where? Managers, where? Headshot picture, who? How do I apply? Acting classes, online, in person. Children that design accessible, what? Get in there.
But you also learn the terminology. You learn what to do and what maybe not to do. Sometimes the networking itself is not necessarily networking with people. It's networking with concepts, networking with ideas. You know, do I need to look for a producer or do I need to look for an engineer? It depends on what you're looking for, because out of the two things I just mentioned, a producer will help you with the concept and idea and how to achieve it. An engineer will help you with the recording, will help you with, making sure the stuff sounds good. So it really depends on what you want to help your career. So in any instance, you have to think outside the box of how I'm going to get to where I want to go.
Right.
As deaf people, knowledge is key. You have to be knowledgeable. My whole career, I admit, I've always continued to learn. I sit next to audio engineers. I see what they're doing. How do they do that? And then I get the same software. I come home, I practice myself. And then I go back in the studio and I'm like, let me do that. And then they're like, it really speaks volumes to the people you're working with too, because now you're understanding their language. You're understanding how to work with them, how to make something happen. So I've always found that fascinating. And it's a big part of who I am, because I want to understand. I want to be able to communicate and talk shop.
Best part about it, you are building your dream. So your dream is here, but sometimes you don't know how to navigate or put in components, a little bit to make your dream, which is the big machine, to make it flow, make it work. So sometimes I need an audiologist. No, I need an audio engineer. Fine. I need someone who is good with producing music. Boom, 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 boom. So little by little dream. Okay, this needs to work on this, tweak on that, and it all works. And you're in the whole process, the whole thing, and you're learning and you're growing. Here, clear, and you know exactly where to go. So with all this knowledge you have, here's the thing what many people do. They have it. What's next? I'm like, it should always have, this is younger generation. Hey, you want to try this? I do this. You want to interested in that? Come on, let me show you what I know. Bring it up.
Making me think about, I keep thinking about this story from the Super Bowl. When we were at the Super Bowl, was it the 50th Super Bowl? Obviously we're rappers. We're, performing with our idols. Dr.Dre, 50 Cent, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar. That whole experience. And I keep thinking about networking in that situation, because I think a big part of networking when you're at any big event is making yourself available.
Yeah.
Making yourself available. I remember the two of us were in our dressing rooms and we were practicing, having fun. I remember the first day I got into my dressing room, I was like, I hooked my phone up to the Bluetooth and was banging music
on it.
through my dressing room. Yeah. And I remember Alexis Cascio, who brought us to the Super Bowl. She came in, she was like, guys, I have to tell you a story. I'm like, what? It just happened. And I was like, what's up?
Yeah, I remember.
And she was like, well, I was just like kind of like walking around, seeing like who's around or whatever, and just being around and seeing what opportunities, because, that's a big part of how you meet people, how you network is making yourself available.
Right.
Well, she said, I was just walking around and then all of a sudden someone walked past her with the big blunt and blew out smoke, and she inhaled it and started coughing. And then another person came up to her and was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, just I was surprised by that cloud of smoke." And that person saw her signing and was like, "I'm looking for those two deaf rappers." And Alexis was like, I'm here with them. I really need to meet them and interview them. Mm-hmm. And Alexis was like, well, I can make that happen for you. And I remember her coming and telling us that they will meet us inside the stadium. Okay, like, who is this? That the guy works with Dr. Dre.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting how that happened by her making herself available, because if she was sitting inside the trailer, if she was hiding from the public, it would have never happened.
Right. You would never know.
Sometimes you have to make yourself available. And then we made ourselves available in the stadium, remember?
Yeah.
So tell the people what happened, how that one smoking incident led to what? It's so funny.
It was a very, very funny moment. And it was amazing how Dr. Dre, his video director, was in awe of us. Like, we was like, what? And then I remember when he interviewed the questions. So, how was it like to meet with the other performers? You know, Dr. Dre, Mary, all the... I was like, well, we haven't met them, but we would like to meet them and to see if we can work closer with them. And that director's face just dropped. He said, what? And he just turned around and screamed, Dre! And we didn't know Dre was behind him. He said, what's up? Right. He said, did you know that was coming in? So Dre sees me. He goes, I remember you. Come on over. So we come over. And I remember we would look at each other like, oh, we're going to meet Dr. Dre. Oh, my gosh, we're going to meet Dr. Dre. And I remember what was running through my mind was like, what am I going to say to this guy? What can I say? How do I rap? Right. What? A lot of things was running through my mind because I really admire his work, his ethics, the things he does. And I'm like, I want to be in that position. What you doing? Right. Understanding he was running this whole thing. So right. Almost no time to just sit and talk with you or anything because he's so focused. But he made the time for us. That was like, yo, you come and you talk with us. First thing came out my mouth was, thank you for allowing us deaf people to perform with you. Yeah. So then I was able to talk to him, ask him a question. I said, what it took for you to do that? He said, you got to keep going. You just can't stop. You got to keep going. Don't you stop, you know? You're doing good. I'm proud. I'm really happy for you guys to come here. I'm really excited you guys to say. You know, and he was genuinely excited that we were there, you know? So the pictures and everything talked. He said, and since then, we met Vippy, Mary, Eminem. We met who's the guy who prayed for us? Kevin Niles.
Yeah, Kevin Niles.
Mind blowing. So meeting all these people, Big Sean, we saw him and all that. I mean, so it was a lot. And Snoop, the most funniest dude ever. He is hilarious. He is a lot of fun to talk to. So, but that built that connection of just talking about music, ideas, and they were literally giving advice. I mean, real gems from these people from at the top. It was just sharing
in that room.
And so that's networking. I mean, and so when you are given gems, that's sharing that ideas, that's something very valuable that these people could have kept for themselves, and they're very successful. But they're sharing it with you. So you have the option to take it, work it, and run, or just, thank you, no thank you. But it's all based on how you show your oppression. That's it. You have an attitude, they're not going to share it.
For me, when I met Jay, I was like, I mean, like you, I was so many thoughts going through my head. And the first thing that came out of my mouth was like, Jay, you've changed my life in more ways than you will ever know. Than you will ever know. I know my time with this guy was very short. I wanted to say thank you.
Yeah.
And I hope in the future there will be many more times where I could really express my gratitude for him, because he has changed my life in so many ways by signing Eminem, by all of the music that he made, music that I grew up on.
Yeah, meeting Kendrick Lamar.
So there was really a blessing to meet him. Yeah.
Yes, it was really an honor meeting all of them. I mean, Kendrick Lamar, I mean, talking to him, and they were just really friendly. They were just there. And we were all in the same room. Can you imagine? Most stars, like, I don't want to share a room with this. I don't want to, I want my own. They have their own entourage, a lot of people, but we were all there. And I was like, wow. And just sitting there talking. You remember everyone was singing inside there. Everyone shouting and singing. And so everyone was just enjoying lifting each other up. It was interesting to see that. And funny thing is, some people say, oh, I'm nervous. I'm like, you're a big time person. You're nervous? Yeah, my first time. So that gave me a good feeling too, because it's always good to be nervous before a show. Keeps you alert, keep you ready, keep you excited, keep it going. I mean, and at the Super Bowl, you would think, wow, look, Ma, I made it. And you represent the deaf community around the world. It's to show that we have what we can do. Networking. So with the PXP, NHL, maybe ESPN Plus, maybe your local news might be leading off to have ASL involved with that. But we need you. And you have the skills. So network. Go out there, dive into, learn, pick it up, pay forward.
It's also about how you approach it. I mean, I think about my career, and really, I met people in positions of power who could change lives,
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, I'm thinking to myself, like, if I approach them about my solo album, if I approach them about my musical aspirations, like, maybe they can make a big change in my life. But what I came to realize, and it's because of my upbringing, that I saw firsthand how hard it was to break into the music business.
It is very hard.
So for me, I was like, I'm sure everybody else is coming to them with the same ideas. But I had a trick. I had a card up my sleeve that I pulled out. And you know what it's called? The deaf card. And, I used that deaf card to my advantage in a good way, because I was able to genuinely express that we have a community of people who love music, who want to be involved with music, who want to experience music. So by using that card instead of the personal, my card, I used that card first. And I expressed, that we have a community, and I proved it by making all of these music videos with all of these different people. And during that process, that's when I found the CD in the lounge that was Jake Bass's. It's like you think about the journey itself. You think about how you got there, but it's about where you started. I didn't go in the door and say, deaf people want music and you're not making it accessible. You need to make music accessible, and, you need to do this and that. It doesn't work when you approach people like that. It doesn't work. For me, when people have done that to me, it just makes me a little bit like, I put my guard up. But I understand your intentions are well. I get that. We all want the same goal, but it's about how you approach it.
And how you react,
You know,
whether they
Yeah.
say yes or no. Especially if they say no. You just
Yep.
can't come off and, thank you.
No.
I appreciate your time. Okay, no problem. Because that's just one person. There could be 100,000 others.
means go back and do more work.
Repair it.
You just got to do more work. Don't give up. Giving up is the easiest thing to do, but go back and do more work. Anytime I've been told no in my life, more often than not, it's a sign for me to get back to work, to keep going.
Right. Fix what worked and what didn't work. Okay, maybe change the whole thing, or just, okay, maybe take this out, take that out, switch it again. Or what am I saying? It's the way I look, it's my approach, it's what? What am I saying? What am I doing? Because after all, you are the one who is going to make this work. So you have to be willing to accept something that didn't work for others, but you can figure out a way how to make it your plan may have a lot of flaws. Then you try to fix it. It's almost like a math problem. I know math is not a good example, but an idea. You figure out, or a puzzle, I'm just trying to figure out the best thing. The dream is, okay, this is not working. Why? Or your car. That's the better one. Your car breaks down. What's wrong with the car? Okay, find out, fix. That didn't work. Fix it. Oh, that worked. The same thing. Your car is your dream.
And also, just a warning, when you network, you're not always going to get what you envision.
Right.
It's just not. It doesn't always work like that. But, maybe the first time you have an opportunity to meet somebody, make it brief, make a good impression, and keep doing the hard work and keep showing up and keep just trucking along, because at some point, your hard work and your persistence will pay off. It will.
Well, you just have to keep going. And that's the fun part, because once you get that feeling that you achieved something, oh, I did it, then sometimes it's nice for you to sit back and reflect what the journey was like. Was it a good journey? What would you do to improve it? Or what would you do to change it? Oftentimes, I find myself, I succeed in something, I reflect back. I don't want to change anything that helped me about that journey. Why? Because it developed my character. It developed my knowledge. It increased my knowledge. And I'm like, wow. So regret, nothing.
Right.
It's like, for me, it's gratefulness.
Yeah. Right. I think that's a good note to end this conversation on. So yes, keep networking, keep reaching out to people, keep trying to make things happen.
Yeah.
It's like right now at work, we're like reaching out to people, and sometimes things don't happen, but it doesn't mean we're not going to give up. We're going to keep going.
I mean, we do get tired. And I'm sure you guys get tired. You're like, I'm working so hard, nothing's happening, blah, 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 blah. But think about it. Your diamond is nearer than you think.
Right.
So you just keep digging. You'll get there, digging. And you feel like, and you just give up. Keep going until you get that diamond. Watch. You will see a huge impact and change. And it's, wow.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, you have a great week, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Yeah, okay.
7 episodes. So like, subscribe, share, and what does Wawa always say?
Have a great week and show some love.
dpan.tv, the sign language channel.